Hi, I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech Home Inspections, and today I'm going to show you how a professional home inspector gets into and out of an attic. Okay, so today's video is going to be kind of long. I've got some old content that I recorded over 9 years ago. I've got some middle of the road content that I recorded maybe 4 or 5 years ago, unreleased. Never shared before. This was for a home inspector training project that never came to light. And I've got some new content that I recorded just for this. So this is a compilation of all these things, and I thought I need to make one comprehensive video for people to understand how to get into and out of an attic. It was almost 10 years ago I recorded a video showing how to access a sealed attic access panel where I bumped it open. And I get up in the attic and I come back down, and that, I never read the YouTube comments, but just the other day I happened to scroll through a couple of these comments on here. I saw one that kind of made me chuckle. It said, you skipped the most important part. And I saw that, I was like, what are you talking about? I showed you how to get in. And I guess what I forgot about is that we do this every day. We have a good understanding of how you actually physically get up there. But some people appreciate the little details, like where do you physically put your feet? What do you grab onto? How does someone actually get into the attic once you've opened it? So I'm including all of those little details in today's video. So to start off, let's go to the home inspector training project that I created, and I'm going to show you the little details, like how to set up the attic access. We'll start with that. Today I'm going to be talking about how to inspect an attic. I've got an attic access panel right above me here. I am in a master bedroom closet. We've got the woman of the house's clothes all up in here, and the access panel is right above me. And I want to make sure that when I open this up, I'm not going to make a big old mess, and I'm going to leave absolutely no evidence that I was ever at this house. That is a rule. Anytime you're doing a home inspection, when you're all done, after you leave, you should make sure that nobody ever knew you were there. If you do that, you're doing everything right. So first off, for attic inspections, one of the inspectors on my team came up with this idea just to have an attic bag. And now pretty much everybody in my company does this. And we throw our attic stuff in there. I've got some shoes here. Well, normally I just have my inside shoes on. I've got my attic mask, and I've got my headlamp, and I keep some type of drop cloth or something to put down underneath my ladder. So when I open that up and a bunch of insulation falls down, I'm not leaving a big old mess over the carpet. There's kind of two schools of thought there amongst home inspectors. One is lay down a tarp or some poly or something like that. The other is bring a vacuum along and vacuum up your mess. I definitely prefer putting something down. Vacuuming up your mess can just, you can wreck carpet, you can get insulation on stuff where you don't want it. It's always better to just be proactive, lay stuff down ahead of time. That's certainly the preferred method. So for me, I like poly. I'm going to be covering up all of these clothes to make sure I don't get any of this covered up, and I'm going to lay poly down on the floor as well. And that way when I open up this access panel, we're all good. Nothing to worry about. Before I come in, I obviously don't come into the house with this huge roll of poly. I usually just cut off a couple sheets when I'm in my truck. I toss them in my attic bag, and then I'm all set to go. So I'm going to take one of these, lay it down on the floor, and it's good to do the floor part of this first, because then I'm going to set my ladder on top of this. So when you bring your ladder inside the house, if you're going to be putting your ladder on carpet, just unless you're absolutely sure that the bottom of your ladder is pristine and perfectly clean, just don't ever put it on carpet. Anytime you're going to set it somewhere, make sure you've got a drop cloth or some poly laid down first. Good best practice. Okay, beautiful. So now I'm ready to inspect the attic without making a mess. The next step is don't make a mess of the attic access lid. If you've got popcorn ceiling like this, you know, sometimes you can just take your fingers and push it up, and you can get lucky and not make a mess of it and not leave any fingerprints. If it's a flat ceiling and you've got flat paint on there, you're gonna leave fingerprints no matter what you do. I don't care how long you wash your hands for, you're gonna leave a smudge. The only way that you're gonna leave this thing completely clean is to wear gloves. Two ways of addressing that. One is just get some cloth gloves. Another is pick up some disposable gloves. I used to always use the cloth gloves, but lately I've preferred to use disposable gloves. You got a big box of these. These are like, it's a 12 pack. Wells Lamont makes these. Even though it says disposable, I end up using the same pair for about 6 months. So I recommend using some good gloves so you don't leave any smudges. We'll go ahead and get these on. Next, I'm going to put my respirator on. This should be covered in a different video about the important equipment that you get. But whatever you do, you're doing this on a daily basis. You're going in attics every single day. Popping your head in once, it's not going to kill you. But when you do this for a profession, you absolutely don't want to be breathing that stuff every day. So wear a respirator every single time. Don't make exceptions. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that on in a second, but you won't be able to understand me as soon as I do. And then, best practice, use a headlamp. I don't require this at my company, but I strongly recommend you use a headlamp. Don't try to use a flashlight. It's going to be one hand that you always have to, that you can't use to climb around in the attic. And all you got to do is drop a flashlight in an attic with loose fill fiberglass insulation one time to realize that thing's probably gone. And if you've had to spend 20 minutes fishing around in a pitch black attic for a flashlight that you dropped, you'll appreciate why I'm saying it's so great to use a headlamp. From the first time I ever used a headlamp, I said, never again will I inspect an attic with a regular flashlight. This is the only way to do it. And get a good headlamp. So I'll get all geared up here. Last first, headlamp, I'm ready to go. Okay, that's a good spot to pause it at. Let's go back to the video I made 9 years ago where I show you how to actually bump open an attic access panel if nobody has ever gone in there. Okay, just before I pop this open, I just want to make sure you can see in the video that this has never been opened before. And I hear sometimes people want to take a knife and cut this open. If you do that, you end up leaving a big nasty scar. I'd say the best way to do this is just give it a little bump. And I'll do that now. And that's it. So now we'll head on up to the attic. That's it. Okay, so there's that. Now back to the video at hand. All right, let me cut in again now. This is the part where I kind of lost people, where people are frustrated. I didn't show how you physically get up there. As far as I'm concerned, there's 3 different ways to do it. Number 1 is you have a ladder where you can get up really close to the ceiling. That makes it super easy. And I'm just going to talk you through what I'm doing here under that situation. So I set up a split screen for this so you can see where my hands and my feet are going. The first thing I'm going to do is get up in the attic, and I'm going to get up to the very highest setting on my ladder, get as high as possible inside there. And you'll note, let's pause the video here. You can see on the sides of this scuttle hole, it's nice beefy framing. It's enough for me to step onto. This is a great attic access scuttle hole. If we don't have all that framing, I don't have these options, I'm gonna have to step on some other solid stuff, but a lot of attics will have something like this. So I get as close as I can, and basically from here, I grab onto some solid framing and I take a big step up, and now I'm in the attic and I start walking through it, being careful to only step on framing members. We don't leave footprints in insulation. And of course, when we're getting back out of the attic, you just follow the same process, but you go backwards. Grab onto something solid, put your feet gently on the ladder, and lower yourself down out of the attic. Option number 2 is where you can't get that close with your ladder. And in this case, my ladder is about 4 feet below the ceiling. If you have enough gymnastic strength, you can actually just grab onto the top of that dam, assuming that the dam is made out of wood, and you can pull yourself right up. That's another way to do it. And then coming down, it's the same process, where you just grab onto something solid and slowly lower myself down. And if that's not an option, you can use your ladder in the A-frame mode to open the attic access hatch. Then you take your ladder down, you set it back up, and you just lean it up against the edge of the attic access panel, kind of inside the panel, and you use that to crawl up into the attic. That's definitely the easiest way to do it, but it takes a little bit more work, and if you're a larger person, you may not fit. Okay, now we've covered those little details. Let's go back to the instructional video. Okay, all done up there. Once you come down, make sure that the attic access panel looks good. Make sure that if the seam is any bigger than it used to be, push it up a little bit and drop it back down. Sometimes that's enough to get it into place. If there's any extra pieces of insulation floating around these seams, take care of those. Brush them off and be meticulous about this, because homeowners will notice that stuff. Once you get out, check yourself for insulation. A lot of the time you'll be carrying it all over yourself. Stand over your insulation, or stand over your mat and wipe yourself off. Any insulation that you get on yourself, now is a good time to brush it off. If you're really covered, then maybe do a really slow waddle to the front door, go outside and shake yourself off there. But if you just got a little bit on your shoes, a little bit on your pants, brush off over your tarp, put your ladder away, and then roll all of your stuff up together and you can throw it away. And that concludes my demonstration on how to properly inspect an attic without leaving a mess. Oh, and side note, if you've got to move any of the homeowner's stuff, like you got to move some shirts, stuff that's hanging up, when you're all done, put it back exactly the way that it was. If the shirts are all spaced out evenly, take your time, space all the shirts out evenly, leave it exactly the way that it was. If somebody sees that you were in their attic, well, they're not going to appreciate it. Melinda, what are you doing?
You gotta put stuff back the way it was.
They will appreciate thinking that you were never up there to begin with. I told you this is going to be a long video. If you only came here for one little detail of this, sorry you had to sit through the whole thing. But I think this is all good information for any new home inspector to have. And if you're a homeowner and you want to get up in your attic, these are all good little tips and tricks. Okay, I'm Ruben Saltzman with Structure Tech Home Inspections. Thanks for watching. Take care.